one of this offseason's biggest trade targets in Alex Debrincat has officially been traded to the Detroit Red Wings, the team that we all expected at this point. We're going to be going over the trade, just the whole thing, as long as the extension with it, and what this means for the Ottawa Senators and the Detroit Red Wings. And obviously, this is a very big move that we've expecting for the past, I'd say since the offseason's been over and has officially happened. The trade came out here yesterday. This was, I believe, last night. Alex Debrincat is going to the Detroit Red Wings for Dominik Kubalik, Donovan Sebrango, a conditional first, which is either Detroit's pick this year or Boston's pick this year. And there's also some more dependence on the Boston side, their choice of the pick, and a Detroit 2024 fourth-round pick. As long as the extension, like I said, comes at 4 years, $7.875 million. Now, Noah, immediate thoughts on this? What do you think about the trade, and as well as the signing? Just a brief one. We'll be going into it both of this at the later on in the video.
I like the deal for both sides, like, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm going to dive a little bit more into it, but Detroit or the Senators were kind of back into a corner with the whole DeBrincat situation, and be able to get a return like they did. Love the deal. In terms of the contract, it's pretty standard now. What a standard contract is going to be when you're a good player, and I think this is just another example.
Yeah, it's like the contract's comparable to guys you expect. Caulfield, Suzuki, Boldy. The only thing is, not as much term as those guys, but also those guys are a bit younger than DeBrincat on that side, so you want to lock them up longer. But I like what Detroit got going, getting another Michigan guy to pair with Dylan Larkin, especially on that first line. Because you hear with Lucas Raymond, that's a dangerous first line, that I dare say, as well as the second line, Bergen, Comfort, Perron. But we spoke about that all in our last video. Check that out if you want to see what we got to say about that. It's all about Detroit Red Wings, everything that goes along with that, so check it out. But Alex Debrincat on the first line with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. Now, obviously, Alex Debrincat did have a down season last year. 27 goals, 39 assists, and 66 points. We say a down season, but that is still absolutely fantastic. And having him, people are saying that, he couldn't produce a very good 5-5 last year. And that may have been the case, but there was nobody really to actually feed him the puck on Ottawa. But now, like we have that we just seen there, Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin on a line with Alex Debrincat. I'd say Dylan Larkin, from what I remember, at least in the NHL, he's pretty good at moving the puck. From what I recall, So maybe we've seen Alex Debrincat another 40-goal season. I know it's very early to say that and all those things, but it does look very promising from that line. Yeah. Now, these lines are not official anyways. These are just from Daily Faceoff. You can go on their website, check out the lines of any team. Usually goes by what the last game was, but obviously hasn't been their last game, so that's just all presumptive at this point. You got to assume, though, he would play with Dylan Larkin, or at least someone who can got some speed, can move the puck and everything. But want to go into what it means for the teams, just briefly here, before we go back into a bit more of the trade and the extension. The trade, obviously, is very good for both sides, So I like, mainly, I got to say, I like the Senators, what they have in return, and what I think this will lead up to. Because, obviously, we've known that Vladimir Tarasenko has chosen either between pretty much the Ottawa Senators or the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, Tarasenko has changed management right when he was in the mix of all that Carolina stuff. So that kind of wiped all of that off the table. And now I think the Ottawa Senators are the leading candidates, as they didn't want to re-sign Alex Debrincat. The money probably wasn't right, as well as not wanting to stay there. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to sign Vladimir Tarasenko. You can see they have $5 million in cap space. They don't have too much money, They could definitely move a contract here, move a contract there, if Tarasenko wanted some more money. But obviously, Tarasenko will not be making that much money anymore as he has before, and the 10 millions, 9 millions. He's not that player anymore. He's obviously still very, very good, but he's not that player. So I think this opens the door to replace Alex Debrincat with Vladimir Tarasenko for the Ottawa Senators. I feel like it fits what they have going more, almost that point of breaking into the playoffs. They were pretty close last year. They just need a few more steps. I think they could take that this year. So, Noah, what do you think about a potential Vladimir Tarasenko opening, I would say, to the Ottawa Senators?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, I think he's the perfect replacement for DeBrincat. I mean, I'm not going to too much dive into DeBrincat's production as of yet. I mean, that's for later on when we're going to discuss that. But yeah, Tarasenko fits in perfectly. Guys like Josh Norris and Brady Tkachuk. Who else do they have on that team? Tim Stutzel. I'm just trying to go off the cuff here. I mean, they have a absolutely elite top six, and when you slot a guy like Tarasenko in there, it's a recipe for success.
Yeah, now obviously in the trade, they also did get Dominik Kubalik, who did have a very good season last year. 20 goals, 25 assists, 45 points. Better than you can really ask for in return. With Donovan Sebrango, who is a very good defensive prospect. I really like him. I'm a personal fan of him. Just the way he plays, pretty offensive, defensive, got both sides of it. But adding both of those players and having a first-round pick as well in return for Debrincat and the potential acquisition of Vladimir Tarasenko, I think this boosts Ottawa to a point higher than they were with Alex Debrincat. He was good there, but I don't think he was as good as they expected. I think they expected a bit more, which, you can always ask for a bit more, but you might not get it. So I think that if this does happen, the Ottawa Senators are in a better place than they were before the season ended.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet to say on that case. But also, it's kind of the same with the Detroit Red Wings. I think they also did get better with this trade. It worked for both sides. They have $8 million in cap space as well. They have plenty. But I don't expect them to make too many more moves, as they got to re-sign Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond. But Noah, if the Detroit Red Wings do make any more moves, do you think it'll be anything major, or do you think it's just going to be kind of pieces here and there?
I don't think so. I mean, they have a lot of free agents coming up at the end of next year. I think they have to extend Lucas Raymond, if I am correct.
Yeah, Raymond, Seider, and
Michael Rasmussen. Yeah, they're not spending any more money. But I don't think. I think they're staying put now.
It's like we said the other in the last video. They're kind of just going to be now. The prospects are going to start to. I can see they'll weave their way into this, crack the roster. Get into the swing of things on the actual NHL lineup, and as well getting this with another player who has experience, a lot of a modern play style, I guess you could say, as well, in Alex Debrincat. I think it's going to be a good another good mentor for those young guys who have not yet cracked the NHL roster and are looking for that kind of experience. Now we also have a screenshot that I've seen here, another big head hockey one. It's a little stat idea here. I guess it's something to think about. Players in the last decade with a higher goals per game through their first 5 seasons than Alex Debrincat. There's only 4 of them. Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and these two who haven't played 5 seasons yet but have also have a higher goals per game than Alex Debrincat at the moment is Kirk and Jason Robertson. Now, I mean, going off this, if you just say if you didn't know anything about hockey and you've seen this, you're like, okay, well, this must be an absolutely fantastic addition. And I gotta say, for what they traded for Alex Debrincat, that's really something really good to think about, Getting a guy who, as well as on a down season last year, having a goals per game, go lower, obviously, since he didn't have too many. He played full 82 and only had 27 goals, but, compared to his production, that's something to think about. So, what do you think about that little stat there? That's kind of crazy to think about looking at his audition, first of all.
I just think that goes to show that the down year he had last year means absolutely nothing. The Red Wings were lacking a little bit of an elite level goal scorer, and they get this into Debrincat, no problem. I mean, he had 2 40-goal seasons over there in Chicago, and I mean, this is his 5th season, or his going into his 6th season now. And to have 2 40-goal seasons before your 6th season is phenomenal. He's only 25, and he's I think he had 41 and then 40. That's an incredible player.
Yeah, it's not easy to get a player like that this day and age of the NHL. There's not very many teams that are willing to let go of a 40-goal scorer, a multi-time 40-goal scorer. So it's good for the Detroit Red Wings, but I think it's also good for the Senators in their own way. Obviously any team could use Alex Debrincat, but I think what this is going to lead to for the Ottawa Senators, it will help them more than I think what Alex Debrincat could have just as a whole. Kubalik, Sebrango, adding to Ottawa's very good defensive prospect list. That first-round pick, obviously, we don't know what it'll be yet. That's 2025, but it could be, could be a top 10. It could be a 2026, depending on Boston's whole situation. We don't know what that'll be yet, but, obviously that will be something nice, I'm sure, with the next few drafts. Pretty good ones like this year, but I gotta say, I think it does help the Ottawa Senators as well as the Debrincat and the Detroit Red Wings in their own respective way. Works for Debrincat, works for the Ottawa Senators, works for the Detroit Red Wings. It helps everybody in this situation, gives a new spot to Kubalik. Sebrango's going to get in with a very young team as well. So I got to say, I do like this trade overall. Like the signing. Extension's very good. I think it's a fair extension. Not making too much money. It's like almost he got paid off the down season, which is a good thing. So that's all we got for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you do want to see more content from us. I'm sure we're going to be seeing many more trades now that the first official superstar has been traded. You know, we got a lot of names. Connor Hellebuyck comes to mind, some more guys like that. So if you want to see the latest news on those players, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we're going to have all of it here. It's going to be a very exciting time to go through with all these stuff coming. But we're signing out. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good night whenever you're watching this. Thank you for watching, and see you later.